Yo, what is up guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here today. This is going to be the LEC 2021 Spring Split Week 6 Thoughts and Opinions. We are almost done with the first portion of the LEC 2021 Spring Split. Currently, looking at the standings right now, G2 Esports and Rogue are tied at 11 and 2. Mad Lions and SK Gaming are currently tied at 3rd. With 8 and 5. Fnatic sit at 5th place at 7 and 6. 6th place is Excel, along with Schalke No Fear and Misfits Gaming, currently all at 5 and 8. Astralis is at 3 and 10, and Team Vitality is at 2 and 11. I do think the most standout player on Team Vitality right now is definitely Crownshot. He was on Jinx this past weekend for the LEC, and I do personally think, you know, he had some standout performances, but it's just not enough to really get this team anywhere. You're pretty much just salvaging your season by pulling off some upset wins over some bigger teams. I don't think this roster is gelling anymore. I don't think this roster is even playing correctly as a team. Crownshot is probably one of the only players you would probably want to keep going into the LEC 2021 Summer Split. I personally think you should keep around Malixa. But other than that, he's also, well, to be fair, Malixia's also been playing pretty poorly as well. You know, he's been missing a lot of Azir ults. He's been getting gapped in lane. But I do think there will be more to him to see if you can give him some more time to develop. Honestly, he just came in, you know, to the LEC early on last year. Skeens and Shigenda and Lebrov, I just don't think they're that good. Specifically Skeens, I don't think he's that good either. You just have a pretty bad roster overall. There's not much to say about Astralis, but Astralis has been looking better with Magifelix. I do think if Magifelix definitely can't really carry this team all this year, there's a good chance that Magifelix will be on a better roster next year, given how much you can clearly see what a prodigy I personally think this guy actually is. If you watch him just clearly in lane and how he plays the game, he's actually really good, and I definitely want to see him on a better roster potentially next year, or maybe they start, you know, shuffling around the roster coming into the LEC 2021 Summer Split. I'm not gonna talk about Misfits. Misfits are fucking trash. Schalke is also playing like trash. Excel are also playing like trash. Fnatic, let's start with there. So, actually, nope, wait a minute. I'm going to wait to talk about Fnatic because I have Fnatic games right here for all of you guys. So, I actually was very keen and stern for Fnatic challenging G2 coming into the LEC 2021 Spring Split because they had powerhouse players like Upset. You still had Selfmade. Hillsang is still one of the best supports in the LEC. Bwipo is still a very serviceable, solid top laner. Niski, I think, is an upgrade over Nemesis, but the roster just looks like something is just not clicking. There might be, you know, team issues with how they personally want to utilize Selfmade, and Selfmade is more of a hard carry jungler. So we'll have to see more about how this roster is going to work out. It's really interesting that they're currently sitting at 5th place when you would probably think, if you watch their last weeks of gameplay where they were on a 4-game winning streak, they would easily probably contest for like 2nd place. But I definitely think right now they do not look that good, and I have to assume you're just going through a slump phase, but I don't really want to assume that. But if you look at not just the G2 game they played this week, they also played really, really poorly to a certain extent in the Astralis game, but then later on Selfmade came over and he stole the Baron, and then later on Fnatic ended the game. So it just pretty much might be a case of where you have a team that is really strong and they have strong voices on the team, but they're just not coming together on specific things. Maybe they have a problem with how they're drafting, how they're playing the game, how they're playing dives, how they're mismanaging waves. All these other things kind of coming together when you're talking about a team like Fnatic with all these other really strong players. SK Gaming, honestly, SK Gaming looked pretty strong. Now, Gen.G has pretty much only been on Aatrox duty or Gangplank duty or fucking just any type of duty top laner where you can literally just put him there and have him just scale. Now, if he's on Aatrox, he looks pretty strong, but other champions, he looks serviceable to a certain extent. I think the rest of the players, Tinks, Blue, Jesus, and Treats, I think if you guys already haven't watched my previous LEC 2021 Spring Split, weekly thoughts and opinions, my current MVP is right now is going to be Larson, Treats, and Inspired. I definitely think they have the qualities of an MVP caliber player. Even looking at other players on SK Gaming, like Tinks is definitely pretty good, and I also think SK Gaming did a very good job with getting these newer players into the LEC and definitely showing off what they can do. It's really crazy that Treats was on TSM Academy and played with Doublelift, and now he's on SK Gaming, and I think he's one of the best supports in the LEC and definitely of the quality caliber of an MVP level player. Looking at Mad Lions, Humanoid's just been kind of running it down in certain games when he's been on Lucian, and I don't really think Mad Lions overall is better than SK Gaming. I personally think that Mad Lions will probably drop down to like 4th. Maybe if Fnatic can get their stuff together, they can move further up. I don't really personally know, but I want to see SK Gaming play even better than they've been playing right now. Treats on Alistar is absolutely insane. So looking at Rogue right now, Rogue had an interesting week where you saw Larson on Twisted Fate, and then he was actually making a lot of good proactive map plays, and I really like that out of Rogue as well. Otawamne was playing Aatrox in one of the games, and he was basically zoning off. No, sorry, he was basically baiting. That's the wrong word I used. Baiting one of the teams that they were playing into it, blowing all of their resources on him, and then later on they capitalized on that, as well. And G2 Esports is, well, just G2 Esports. They're just the best team in the LEC. It's really crazy how some people said that they were playing pretty poorly this split, but yet they've been currently just racking up wins and wins and wins. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They've only lost to like what? They've lost to Fnatic, and I think they've randomly lost to like what was it? Schalke? Yeah, they lost to only Schalke and Fnatic this entire split so far. And they definitely have, I think if you want to consider anybody an MVP off G2, it would probably be Reckless, because he's been a really serviceable AD carry in a way that's also able to provide that extra carry potential they did not have with Perks when he was playing AD carry, obviously, last year. So the most important games to look over for this week, in terms of if you want to see a stomp, you watch G2 versus Vitality. You can clearly see Crownshot has these really good stats right here, where, as you can clearly see, that it's getting better with him, but I definitely think it's way too late to really make any significant change. I do personally think coming into the LEC 2021 summer split, they're going to definitely make some changes. Mickey was just an animal on the Blitzcrank. Most of this game is just G2 just beating the shit out of these guys. Let's be honest here. It's the best team in the league versus the worst team in the league. It's gonna happen no matter what. And then there was this one team fight right here that really you probably thought was going to go into Vitality's favor. So right here, you can clearly see Caps, using his ultimate to chunk out 2 people in the backline. Jankos leaps in to the backline to kill Crownshot, and then later on, he kills Lebrov. So you probably would naturally think right here, why is Maliksa going for this shuffle play? But to be fair, Reckless was, I'm pretty sure he was, what's that thing that Lillian does where she uses that ball and she sleeps you? He was like slept up for Reckless's point, but then you look at where, okay, why is Shigenda diving this far in? Then you also have to factor in, why are they not playing this much more slowly? Maliksa goes for a play, he fails it. Jankos is like, okay, I'm a Nidalee and I can chunk the ADC and I can definitely kill Lillian. He just jumps in and kills him as well. So yeah, this was really, really bad on Vitality's part. If they had won this team fight right here, I definitely think that this game would have been a lot more interesting. I'm not saying they would have won, but it definitely would have paved the way for Vitality to look even better, because this part right here pretty much shows why they're at the bottom of the league. Like, you have literally Shigenda whiffing. To be fair, he didn't really whiff his Scion ultimate, kind of being over-exaggerated right there. Caps dodged it downward, and then you look at this team fight and you're going like, wait a minute, wait. My support is dead, my top laner's ultimate was whiffed and also dodged, then Shigena's not there, so there's no tank, and then you have to also factor in 3 of these guys almost killed all 3 of them to change the game. Yeah, it just wasn't Vitality's day for that one. Then looking at the Fnatic game right here, Fnatic versus Astralis, this was an interesting game on the point that Fnatic put a lot of resources, definitely bot lane, to, obviously get Hillsang and upset definitely ahead. Then you also had little early skirmishes where you had White Knight definitely taunting, well, sorry, Stand United taunting in to change the team fights later on, or the skirmishes, as you guys want to call them. As you can see right here, he can't get onto upset, so he definitely goes onto Hylissang, and then they get that kill onto Hylissang. And also, later on during the game, Astralis tries to 50-50 a Baron, as you can clearly see right here. They're going for it at this minute into the game. And so as you can see right here, Selfmade just goes over, and you're like, okay, is he gonna steal it? And he actually does. Selfmade steals the Baron, and then later on, Niski continuously pushes in. I'm pretty sure the only mid laner, the mid laner for Astralis in this game was Seraphine. So obviously, if Niski uses his W and he roots Magic Felix, he's just gonna kill him unless, Magic Felix starts stunning up Niski, and then later on Niski has the Baron, and then its game is over. That was definitely Baron for a Nexus trade. I don't really know why teams do that, but you never know. It's one of those things that happens in certain games. Maybe the certain calls where, okay, if we do this right now, we can probably get back into the game, but it's something that, I don't really know what really was going through Astralis's, communications at that moment in time. Maybe they probably thought to themselves, okay, we got a pick onto Bwipo, now we can probably do the Baron. Bwipo looks to be a little bit out of sorts when it comes to some of these Fnatic games, and playing poorly in terms of, I guess he's potentially calling for resources where it's not really going to be super beneficial for the team, and you can't really play around a Gragas that heavily. He was full AP this game, getting one shot, so that is something that, definitely needs to be worked on coming into next week. So the match of the week was obviously G2 versus Fnatic. This game was interesting. So, as you look at the Fnatic composition, they draft Yon, Lillian, Azir, Kalista, and Alistar. G2 draft Gragas, Olaf, Syndra, Jhin, and Rel. Rel is just an insanely amazing support champion. Let me tell you about some Rel. So, right here, when you're watching this, you can probably tell something, or Kofta also brought this to my attention as well. I don't really know why Bwipo flashed downwards. Why did he flash upwards to get to where Niski was going to TP? Maybe he didn't know where Niski was initially going to TP. That's definitely just a miscommunication on Niski's part, because you definitely want to communicate where you're TPing to on the minion wave, so that way Bwipo could probably get next to him. But there's still no reason to flash downward. That's not going to get you in a better position, since you clearly see Caps TPing into where Jankos is at, and then later on, Caps tries to obviously go after Selfmade and Niski, and then later on you get a TP back from Bwipo. But at this point, with Yon getting killed that early on, it's pretty much not going to be in a super hard favor for Yon, because Gragas can just, see us from a distance with his barrels, and obviously he can just heal up to sustain through Yon's damage. Also, you have Hylissang just randomly dying right there, which is really not what you need. It might be a thing of maybe Selfmade, and maybe Selfmade just really thought to himself, hey, I can't really play around topside this game, because if you kind of factor in, if Yon is far behind like that, you can't really gank a losing lane. Which makes perfect sense. I mean, ganking a losing lane doesn't make any sense at all. I played jungle for a very long time. You don't want to gank losing lanes. It's not going to work. Wunder played this actually extremely well. If you go back and watch this play, Wunder, as they're diving him, throws his Gragas cast to knock the minions away, so that way the minions are not tanking as... So basically, that means Hylissang is taking more damage. And then right here, you have Niski trying to actually kill him, and later on, Wunder saves another barrel, kills Mickey X. He gets a kill also onto Upset, and at that point, you're just like, okay, if they can't kill a Gragas like 3v1, at this point, this game is over. Jankos was a complete animal on Olaf. He got so many kills during this game. He was outplaying in all the team fights and all the skirmishes and all the 1v1s, so that's something you want to see as well. I'm not really too sure what happened with Fnatic, obviously, in this game. They looked a lot more competitive in the last game, but then you also have to factor in, G2 definitely had some internet issues going into that game. So, I'm not trying to use an internet, as the excuse. It's just like, when G2 didn't have those internet problems, this definitely did not look close. And this definitely is pretty concerning for Fnatic that, they lost to their heavy rival this bad in this game. That's pretty much all I have to say for the rest of this game was pretty much a big giant gap. That's all it was. Like, Fnatic provided some interesting things, but the communication, you could just tell, wasn't there. They were going for like opportunistic plays that didn't make any sense. Like, literally looking at this, I was like, there's no way Jankos turns this around. And Jankos puts his ultimate down and kills the Azir, and then ends up being so far ahead that he kills the Yon. Really? At that point, you just fucking surrender, and it's like, GG, go next. Alright, so what is the next games for this week coming up? Let me look it up right now. Alright, let's go. The games for the LEC 2021 Spring Split Week 7. It's crazy. That's CBLOL Academy? Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Alright, let's go to schedule. I have it on for the LEC. Okay, so on Friday, Mad Lions versus Schalke. I'm pretty sure Mad Lions will win this. Misfits versus Astralis. I think Astralis will win. You have the match of the week in G2 versus Rogue. In my own personal opinion, I think this is the matchup you guys definitely want to see. Rogue definitely want their revenge, and G2 want to prove that they're the best team in the LEC. After this win, I'm pretty sure that team will lock first place, because obviously they'll have 12 wins. But then again, if Rogue win, they'll have 12 wins, but they don't own the head-to-head. If G2 win, they lock first place, and they own the head-to-head. So that's going to be something interesting as well. SK Gaming versus Team Vitality. SK should be winning that. XL versus Fnatic. I mean, Fnatic should win, but we'll see. The next day is going to be Schalke versus Astralis. I'm pretty sure Astralis wins this. Team Vitality versus XL. XL win that. Fnatic versus SK. I'm saying SK Gaming win that. And then you have G2 versus Misfits. G2 win that. And Rogue versus Mad Lions. I'm pretty sure Rogue win this one. So we have some interesting matchups this week. Hopefully Fnatic can bounce back and go 2-0. You would think with the easier schedule this week they can go 2-0, but it's hard to say. Like, can Fnatic be a much better team in playoffs if they manage to make playoffs? We'll potentially see. All right, and that is pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out, guys. Peace. You guys have a good day.